is a reading that reminds us of the mercy of God. Here these 10 lepers cried out to Jesus that he would have mercy on them. And he instructed them to go and show themselves to the priest. And while they were running to the priest, they realized they were already cured. Their skin was clean. And one of them stopped and turned around and ran back to Jesus and fell down to him and thanked him. Leprosy was a terrible disease. A person afflicted with leprosy has all kinds of sores throughout his body. The skin just peels off. And it's even worse when these ulcers appear even within your mouth and other cavities. Painful, humiliating. And people at that time thought it was tremendously contagious, and so they outcast anyone who was afflicted with this disease. And over time, what happened, there were small little pockets of lepers living together, covered from head to toe in all kinds of garments, to somehow soothe their pain, but also because society had cast them out. They were no longer worthy to interact with everyone. Even the priest in the temple would officially declare them as unclean. And with that declaration, it was a black mark on their life until they died. People would not interact with them. And so there were some who would occasionally leave food and drink and other types of sustenance in some area for the lepers to find. But they lived a miserable life. And that's why the gospel says Jesus saw them from afar. They knew that they were ostracized and they could not interact with anyone. So they cried out from afar, Jesus, Master, have mercy on us. And Jesus instructed them to go to tell the priests, because he knew that the priest can remove that declaration of them being unclean and now declare them clean and fit to return to society. But only one of them thought it was more important first to give thanks and then to go show himself to the priest to say that he was clean. He gave thanks. We can imagine the joy that these people felt. They were separated from their families. They lived in pain. They were isolated, experienced cold and extreme heat, struggled with hunger and thirst. The only belongings they had were the rags that they were wearing. And Jesus freed them from all of that and put them back in society so that they can interact with their loved ones, so that they can once again live in shelter, so that they once again can go into the temple and worship God. He gave them life, not just cure, but life again to these people. And we, as we come to the end, just 2 weeks left, come to the end of the Nativity fast, we prepare for the great feast of Christ coming into this world. And by Christ coming into this world, what does he do? He frees us from our own leprosy. He comes into this world to bring light where there is darkness, to bring peace where there is anxiety, to bring health where there is sickness, to bring sight to the blind, to raise the paralytics, to reunite the separated, to unite us once again with God, to unite heaven with earth, to reestablish a community between God and man, and to reestablish a community of love among men. Sin destroyed all of that. And in the communion of the saints and of the angels, we, before the coming of the Messiah, were just like these lepers. We were separated. We were ostracized. There was a wall of separation between us and heaven. We were afflicted with all kinds of diseases. There was hatred and war. We lived in small pockets. There was discord even between soul and body. We were afflicted with pride and resentment and anger. And these sores, oh, how we know, these sores are very painful. And so by Christ coming into this world, he frees us from all of this. He grants us to once again have communion with the saints. He grants us once again to interact with the heavenly world. He grants us once again wholeness of body and soul. He grants us once again peace and love and harmony. He grants us life by him coming into this world. Saint Ignatius Branchaninov, a beloved Russian hierarch of the 19th century, says that giving thanks ennobles man, ennobles us. He says giving thanks does not make God any more powerful, does not make God any more glorious, any more holy, does not make him any more stronger. But giving thanks makes the one giving thanks more glorious, more powerful, more strong, much stronger. Giving thanks does not change the existence of God, does not bring about any kind of alterations to him, does not make him any more merciful. But St. Ignatius says, giving thanks changes us, changes our life. St. Ignatius says, giving thanks opens up our eyes so that we flee from that which causes us pain and separates us from God and brings us closer, so that we strive to be attached to God. Giving thanks does this because we understand where we came from. We understand from that which we were delivered. And we understand that we didn't earn it. We don't deserve it. But it's freely given. St. Ignatius says, and this cuts to the heart, he says, giving thanks in this life is crucial because by giving thanks, we attach ourselves to God in this life. And he says, we can't expect to be attached to God in the eternal life unless we were first attached to God in this life. So let us, brothers and sisters, as we prepare for the coming of the Messiah into this world, let us always give thanks. First and foremost, give thanks for the salvation that he brings to us. Give thanks that he comes into this world and does not abandon us. Give thanks that he has enlightened us and saved us from death. And how do we give thanks? Well, this one leper ran back to meet God, to meet Jesus, and he fell down to him. We should always run to God in prayer. And we should always fall down to him. We fall down by showing him obedience, submission to his commandments, following his holy will. By showing thanks to God, we also help one another, support the church, think of heavenly things, not be weighed down by vain material pleasures. We show thanks to God when we bear our crosses in life, when we don't complain when things don't work out, when we show patience and perseverance in times of sickness and sorrow. We show thanks to God when we don't fall into laxity or laziness or doubt or little faith. We do everything we can to nourish our faith and make it vibrant and alive and transfiguring in our life. We show thanks to God when we raise our children to do the exact same thing, to live a life vibrant in faith, striving for the heavenly Jerusalem, striving to defend and follow God's commandments. Because we all want to be attached to God and his heavenly kingdom, let us show thanks every day of our lives for everything that we have, so that we may be attached to God here in this life. Amen.